She's selling Sacramento. Agent Keys. She's selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Agent Keys. Agent Keys. Yeah. Selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Keys. She's selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Agent Keys is selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Agent Keys. Agent Keys is selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Keys. She's selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling Sacramento, buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling Sacramento, buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack, selling slack. Selling slack, selling slack, selling Sacramento, buying the block back. Selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling slack, selling Sacramento, buying the block back.
Agent Keys. Agent Keys is selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Keys. She's selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Agent Keys. Agent Keys is selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Keys. She's selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Agent Keys is selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Agent Keys. Agent Keys is selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento.
everyone. It is Wednesday. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we are Selling Sacramento. Yes, I am back. Wednesday last week, I was out ill. You can still hear a little stuffiness in my voice, but I am probably 98% better. I do want to acknowledge that every Wednesday, Selling Sacramento is brought to you by Matthews & Company Realty Group, where I, Agent Key, am the broker and the owner and love helping you buy, sell, and retain real estate. The other thing that I want to bring to y'all's attention is that every last Saturday of each month through the year of 2023, thanks to the sponsorship and the generosity of the amazing folks at Highlands Charter Community, HCCTS. That's what they are now, their Oak Park location. We are now having our Learning Lab, SAC Club 100 Learning Lab, every last Saturday. And that is where you can participate in an all-day learning session about housing, understanding what it means to be a homeowner, learning how to budget, understanding the process, learning about different loan programs that are available to you, and so much more. Learning about these new loan programs that are out there right now, such as the California Dreaming Program, where they're giving you 20% down. I was just told yesterday that one of our clients who had pre-approved for around $300,000 was now approved for $500,000 thanks to the 20% down loan program. So come to the Learning Lab, SAC Club 100 Learning Lab, the last Saturday of this month. If you haven't registered, go online, go to joinclub100.com, joinclub100.com, get registered for this March's Learning Lab. Join the lab. When you go to the page, there will be two prompts, one for you to join the club, one for you to join the lab. Click Join the Lab, and you'll get all of the information for March's session and be a part of the event this last Saturday. And again, thank you to the folks at Highland Charter Community Tech School. Yes, HCCTS. Their Oak Park campus, that is where it will be held every last Saturday of the month. Now I want to jump right into this show today. For the month of March, this is Women's History Month, and I want to celebrate women, the women of Sacramento in particular, who are inspiring change. The first Wednesday of this month, we had Dominique Poydras and Ingrid Pinkett, yes, from Sisters Inspiring Sisters. And today, and so it's so amazing because the women that I'm having on the show, chances are you all have crossed paths.
Yes.
And know each other. Mm-hmm. And so today I am excited because I have a dear, special, sweet friend. Mm-hmm. Her name is Rachelle Ditmore. And if you see her face, if you hear her voice, you will probably know who she is.
I keep on trying Disney to contract with me for a Disney princess and a voiceover. I mean, come on.
You could definitely do that.
Yes, we'll fund all of this.
Oh my goodness. Disney, if you're listening, contact Rachelle. She's all over the place. But she's very special because of the things that she and her husband and her family have accomplished for our city and for the people of our city. She is the co-founder of the City of Refuge.
Yes, ma'am.
And this newest project, this newest venture just really warms my heart. Be Love Farm in Vacaville.
Yes.
How many acres?
21.
21 acres.
A full regenerative farm.
To tell us a little bit about both, and then we're going to get into Rachelle. Who
yes.
are you?
Oh, my goodness. You know, when I'm so, first of all, humbled by your words and thankful. I was sharing with Danny Goki, who was a former American Idol finalist last week. He came to visit us. Yes.
Wow.
And I think in my life today, I don't believe that I help people. I believe that what I've been able to do is to create the right space and to create the right environment. And in those spaces, I've been changed and others have been changed. Wow. And I think when we truly realize that when we invite others in, that maybe we look around and we see people who might have been left out and we invite them in, we're all changed, and we
Yeah.
get to see the miracles of God. And I am so thankful for the life and the journey that I've had the opportunity to live.
Yeah.
City of Refuge, I actually worked under another nonprofit for 15 years called Youth for Christ. I ran after school programs in the North Sacramento and then came to Oak Park in 1999. And, my love, since probably 94 when I moved to the inner city of LA, when I moved to the city, I saw the treasure. I didn't see the problems. I saw the gold. I saw people. I saw these incredible leaders. And you know how sometimes you go to a garage sale and you look at something and you think, oh, they must not know what they're selling.
Right.
And when I went to the city, and often, back then they called it the inner city.
Yeah.
I think that's how I felt. People must not know what's here. It was gold.
That has to be a gift, though. I mean, I know that that's a gift because I know personally.
Yeah.
I get anxiety when I see too many people.
Yes,
but
right.
You see people and
Yeah.
you see it as an opportunity. I have another friend who's like that as well, and I tell him, I said, you're like a people magnet. There's not one person that you cannot walk by and not communicate and connect with.
I think that's what it looks like, though, to really live a prophetic life. You see who God made, you see what He made,
gosh.
you see the beauty, and you spend your days calling it out and seeing it,
Oh.
and not coming to save it, but to see it exposed, to see it revealed. And I think that there's a difference. There's a difference between going into a space and seeking to save, or going into a space and believing that the gold will be exposed, and that it will just be revealed to all of us. And then we are all changed because of it, and we get to witness heaven on earth. That's
so
what I
profound.
feel like we've
That
gotten
is
to
what
do.
You emanate that, though. You really do. Tell us about City of Refuge.
Yes, and so, City of Refuge really birthed out of years of running after school programs. We, in the Bible, the phrase comes from the Bible. There were biblical cities of refuge of old. There were 7 of them. And the Bible talks about, it's kind of like a cartoon, like if the Avenger of Blood was coming, you really did commit a crime. You really did do something maybe even worthy of death, that you could go to these cities of refuge and you would be covered under the high priest. You would have all of your needs met. You would be restored. If you were running for your life and death was knocking at your door, that you would go and you would be safe. And, I think that there are people with bank accounts that may look like those that live in El Dorado Hills, and I think there are people that look like tents that you see on the streets, that today there are people that are running for their lives everywhere, and they may not look like it on the outside, but humanity is longing to live. Yeah. There is a call for an awakening. I think that there is a slumber and a discouragement that's come across to people that these last few years have produced. And I believe that there is an awakening that is coming, that we're going to wake up, and that God is wanting to restore heaven here on earth, His kingdom here on earth. And as we are running for our life, that we understand that there has been a high priest, there is a King of Kings and a Lord of Lords who has loved us all along, and there is a refuge that's found in Him. And so, what City of Refuge really looked like in Oak Park was, honestly, we didn't have a huge plan. We never planned on starting an organization. We really did. We started in our house, and it was really about being a neighbor and loving our neighbors and learning and living in community. And what does that look like? Well, what do neighbors do? They bring you cookies when you move in. They find out if you're okay. They watch your children. They become aunts and uncles. And for me, I am actually a child of a gentleman that was in prison himself, and didn't meet my birth father until about 6 years ago on the streets of East LA. Wow. And so family for me, I've really learned to piece together. Right. Yeah. And so I wasn't fortunate to grow in the abundance of family that I was born into. Right. But I do believe that God adds to family, and when we live as family, there's nothing more beautiful. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is so profound. I'm just sitting, I feel like we're having church, y'all. This is okay. All right. So tell us, because there's only so much time in this show, and I feel like we're just going to get so much. Yes. If you all are tuning in, you are in for a special treat. Be prepared to be encouraged. Be prepared to be uplifted. Be prepared to be hugged virtually, because that's what's getting ready to happen with this conversation.
Yeah.
Tell us about Be Love Farm. B-E Love, like
Yes.
Be Love Farm.
Be Love Farm is my Red Sea that God is about to part. That's what it is. So, we, at City of Refuge, we have a community center on Martin Luther King Boulevard. We have housing for 26 families, and then we partner with the City of Sacramento through their motel voucher program with another 126 families that we run case management for and programs for children. And about 5 years ago, I walked into this farm in Vacaville. I actually took a class there, and I could breathe. It was the most beautiful place. I went home and I told my husband, I can't even believe that this is so close. And, Matthew and Tiercy, who were the former owners, they owned 21 restaurants, Cafe Gratitude and Gracias Madre, and they honestly became beautiful friends of ours. They found out about the work that we do in Sacramento, and a lot of those that we house have been formerly incarcerated, victims of human trafficking, domestic violence, children that just need to run and play and need rest. And so we, God built this beautiful bridge between City of Refuge and Sacramento and Be Love Farm. It became a place for our family personally where we would go. I always feel like my kids, half have grown up on a farm and half in the city. We'd take a day and we would just go run and play, and they've learned to work. They know how to milk cows and just those very important things that I still believe are values that I want my children to grow up with.
Right.
And it was actually so sweet. My son, he's an athlete and he's 14 years old. And he knew that we were in the process of potentially trying to buy the farm this last year. And both he and Ellie, they said, Mom, we don't need new school shoes this year. We'll just clean ours up. They were a part of this decision. And I said, you guys, I'm like, we're going to get you new shoes. And they said, Mom, just save the money for the farm. That's what's going to last. And my kids have grown up with the value of understanding that what we invest in, right, that ownership. And it's not just about our ownership. The greatest gift that we can give to others is ownership, right? I told one of my staff yesterday, I said, you're not a renter, you're an owner. And when we understand the authority of ownership, not just in the natural, but in the spiritual, right? That authority. And our kids hold those values. They've been a part of this decision.
When you know
Absolutely.
You're more accountable.
Absolutely.
You're proud.
Yes.
Yes.
And so we would go there for events, but also, having a team. We have 36 staff at City of Refuge today, and we believe that as helpers and healers that we're all still healing as well.
Yes.
And so we provide those services to our team as well. 90% of our staff have histories of all of the things that we get to go back after, which is incredible.
Right.
But it became a place of just rest and rejuvenation for them as well. And so when Matthew and Tiercy called us this last summer and they said, we don't want you to find out online, we're selling the farm. And my husband and I, our hearts just sank. And it wasn't just for us. It was about what this place has been for people that we love and that invitation into rest. And we hung up the phone and we looked at each other and we said, no way are we going to jump off a cliff again. You see, when we started City of Refuge 15 years ago, one morning we looked at each other and we said, what if we gave our house back to God? What if we moved out of our house and we found a rental and we turned it into a ministry site and we invited people in? And that was really the beginning of City of Refuge. It wasn't a, let's go raise money for this. We gave what we had. We emptied it out. And that's not to say, it's not to say hey, look at us, look at what we did. But what I can say is this. We can never outgive God.
Right.
And
that's how God specifically moved on your heart.
It's how he wired us. And we looked at each other, though, and we thought, how in the world would this even happen? It's actually interesting that they just wrote an article in a Vacaville magazine that was called They Did It All Wrong. If you would look at us, I always say if you look at our bank account, you're going to think we're mentally ill or we heard from God. And how the pieces came together between the former owners agreeing to carry a portion of it with pieces that came together, a huge risk in this economy. But we believe a risk worth taking because of what is supposed to happen there. And so threefold at the farm. One, workforce development. just a place where we can, the farmers markets, working with animals, planting, growing. There's something so beautiful about the garden. And I also believe that there's something about the garden that is not just a trend, but I think it's something that God wants to restore.
It's restorative. I was just going to say that.
It is.
It's a time where you can really just get out of your mind.
It is.
And you're just one-on-one,
Yes.
not just with
Yes.
the plants, but with nature.
Yes.
Even with the animals.
Yes.
That's
yes.
just, it's a beautiful.
We are building a tiny farm that's almost done. It will be all interactive animals for children and victims of trauma. We have a doctor that Dr. Corinne Elmore, who's actually going to be relocating here and joining our team at City of Refuge. She's been a child psychologist for 13 years. Incredible young woman, African-American doctor, that's going to be joining our team and developing program there. And then also just for helpers, those that need to be invited into rest, to be able to come and restore. There will be nonprofit and for-profit partnership. And just a beautiful place. So if you need a retreat, if you need a place of healing, if you need, we have a Senate team that's coming for their day retreat this Friday, just to be able to come, but to create that space where we invite others in. We've been working with Teen Challenge in San Francisco. They have 35 men formerly incarcerated, and the director actually said to me, he said, it's rare that we get invited into a home. And it's just big enough. There's a table big enough. And they come on 2 Saturdays a month, and they are able to bring their families and their children. And there's a space where they can come, and they work in the garden, and they drive tractors. But it's just this healing space that I think we see a little bit, but I think that God has really big plans for this place.
I'm so overwhelmed by
Me too.
hearing all this. It's just beautiful. We got to take a break.
Yes.
But when we come back, you're going to hear more about Rachelle herself, her family, her children, how they balance all that. How does this even happen? Why is this happening? There are a lot of comments in the comment section here online. So when we come back from the break, we'll address the comments.
I love it.
But we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear more from Rachelle. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and we'll be right back. Welcome to your dream home in the highly sought-after Churchill Downs community. This stunning 2-story property boasts 5 spacious bedrooms and 3 immaculate bathrooms, providing ample space for you and your family to live, work, and play. As you step inside, you'll be immediately impressed by the beautiful laminate wood flooring that flows seamlessly throughout the home. The kitchen is a chef's dream come true, featuring gorgeous granite countertops and updated appliances that will inspire your culinary creativity. Plus, with a 3-car garage, you'll have plenty of space for all your vehicles and storage needs. The open and airy floor plan makes entertaining a breeze, with plenty of room for everyone to gather and make memories. Step outside and you'll be greeted by your own private oasis. The custom-built pool and waterfall is the perfect place to unwind and relax after a long day. And with a 3-kilowatt solar panel system installed in 2017, you can enjoy a more sustainable and energy-efficient lifestyle. The system is even paid in full. Located right next to the highly acclaimed community of Silver Springs and Wild Hawk Golf Course, you'll have access to world-class amenities just moments from your front door. This home truly has it all. Don't miss your chance to make it yours today.
Agent Key, is Selling Sacramento. She is Selling Sacramento. She's Selling Sacramento. She's Selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Agent Key, yeah. Selling Sacramento. She's selling Sacramento. Agent Key, selling Sacramento. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We are back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I'm Agent Key, and I'm here with Miss Rachelle Ditmore of City of Refuge and Be Love Farm. And we just had I am just overflowing, overjoyed, and over everything. My heart is so full. There have been comments in the chat, so I want to make sure that we address everyone that's watching. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Linda Lee, that's my mama. That is my mama. Good afternoon, Mom. Miss Venetia.
Hi.
Hey. So we're going to say Miss Asia Allen.
Sweet.
Hey, Agent Key. Hi, Miss Asia.
So sweet.
Mom is saying good afternoon. Asia said, hi, Rachelle Ditmore. You look gorgeous, and your work is changing the world. Changing the world. And Miss Angela said, yes, Miss Rachelle and her husband are awesome vessels. That's right. That's right. I love this. Me too. Chanel says hello. Hello, Miss Chanel.
So
yes.
fun.
And Asia said hi. Okay. All
Hi.
right. Thank you, ladies, for chiming in. Before we went to break, I wanted you to come back and tell us who you are. First, let me tell everyone where I first met you.
Yeah.
It's been, gosh, how long has it been?
Well, at least 17 years ago.
At least.
Mhm.
At least. That
Yes,
sounds
at
about
least
right.
17, 18.
Because my children were toddlers at the time, and now they're
Yes.
26 and 31. So we were performing in the Martin Luther King production by Lisa Lacey.
Yes.
And God rest her spirit. And it was something she did every year. The Dream Goes On.
The dream goes on.
At Sac State. And you were singing, girl, and you still sing.
I do.
I heard your children play instruments
and
at
they,
our church.
yes,
the other
and they
Sunday.
sing as well. We're a tribe of worshipers.
Yes. So knowing you back then and seeing your journey up to today, who are you? Who are you? How did you get to this?
You know, when I think about Jeremiah 29:11, where it says, I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord. They're plans to prosper you and not to harm you. They're plans to give you a future and a hope. And, I think going back, I am the granddaughter of genocide survivors from Turkey. I am the daughter of a Chino State prison inmate who struggled. And my mom was super wounded in her pregnancy with me. She was abused, and I was adopted at 3. And the trauma of pregnancies and early childhood trauma, they didn't know then. I was a little girl who, I understood at a young age how much God loved me. It's interesting how small I was that I really did. He was very near.
Yeah.
And yet the trauma was also very, very real. Mm-hmm. And I always say that God put a song in me before I had a voice. Mm-hmm. And he put a heart in me that was for others. Yeah. And that's where I learned how to use my voice. I remember in 7th grade, there was a girl named Mary Boos, and she was, there was a circle, and she had gotten into a fight with a boy, and I went home, I told my mom about it, and Mary had wiry hair, and she would wear the same outfit every day, and my mom told me about this girl, and I became Mary Boos's friend, and I learned how to have a voice for her before I learned to have a voice for me, and I realized, there was a call on my life, and for every single one of us, I'm ordinary, but we've all been made for something. Mm-hmm. And I think that often we want to do everything and nothing. And we want to often do things that are seen, but we diminish the unseen. Mm. And some of the greatest spaces that forged Rachelle Ditmore was learning how to be loved by God, on the outside and to realize that he brought me on the inside, not anything that I would ever do. It was being unseen and unnoticed, because when you're noticed, it's no different. It was learning to have grace for others when they took advantage or hurt me, because like Sophia says, there's not bad people, there's just hurt people. But sometimes we have to learn to walk away and put down the rope,
Now, Sophia
right?
is your baby girl.
She is. She just turned 9.
Yeah.
She just turned 9, and she's just like me. She's hilarious. And, you know, it's those lessons along the way. And, you know, who I am is a daughter, an orphan that God picked up. And he held me, and he restored me. And, you know, it's like for so many women, like we've battled mental health. I battled depression for so long, so many years. People would probably never know that about me. You know, I remember sitting on the side of the freeway, like the 99, probably around the time that you knew me, like screaming on the top of my lungs, like, God help me.
Yeah.
You know, healing is not an overnight journey.
Right.
And being restored is not. But when we allow God to take the two things hand in hand, and we live not for ourselves, but we understand that there is someone bigger, that there is more, and we continue to heal, and we become, I don't know, you just look and you're like, wow, God, you did this.
Now let's go back to you saying that moment you're on the freeway.
Yeah.
And you're screaming to the top of your lungs.
Yes.
I'm sure that we can all relate to moments like that in our lives.
Yes.
How do you go from there to healing?
Right.
What did you tell yourself at that moment to stop yourself from going over the edge? Did God speak to you at that moment? What happened?
I learned to turn the light on. You know, so many of us, and I think even when we think about sisterhood, and I love that we're celebrating Women's Month, and we're talking about Dominique, and I see Venetia on there. Like, Venetia was one of my early friends during that time that we walked through some really broken years together. And you just learn to turn the light on. Like, stop pretending like you have it all together. There's no shame in that.
I love that.
And find the right people, find community. The lie that we don't need one another, and that life is a filter of like, honey, let me tell you, like these last 40 days at the farm, it's been crazy. I'm like, I've got the cutest shoes on today. Yeah. And I just like, I want to show them to you.
So for those of you who are watching, you get to see the cute shoes.
Hey, hold on. Hold on. They are.
For those who are not watching, they are light lime sling.
They're so cute.
With like an 1.5 inch heel. And
yes.
Pointy toed. And they're very cute.
They're very cute. But I was telling one of my staff, in Sacramento, I said, you know, today I'm going to be at the Capitol, and tonight I'm going to be cleaning bathrooms at the farm for a retreat, and they're going to look at me as the house help. That doesn't define me.
Right.
You know, what defines me is that, like, I get to go with God, you know, and when I think about, like, what was that moment, it wasn't that moment. It was continue to bring it to the light. You know, I had a childhood dream that came up this summer, and I was like, whoa, where did this come from? And I went back and I did 4 months of therapy with EMDR. It was absolutely amazing. And so there's not shame in healing. There's power in community. Turn on the light, open up the windows, let the light in, because if we can find freedom, let's keep pursuing it.
I like how you normalized therapy. She said
yes,
that with a great big smile on her face. It was so healing.
Yes.
And we need to normalize that,
yes.
right? And with you pointing out, stop acting like you've got it all together. I think there's this facade, especially it's been emphasized because of social media, that things have to look a certain way.
Yes.
And if people really posted about what really was going on, not even just in their house, but in their head.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That part. And the belonging to Christ and understanding who you are in Him. That power that you have in Him. I'm reading this book about the Ritz-Carlton and the person who created the Ritz-Carlton. And it's about the Ritz-Carlton's just their process of being excellent and serving. One of the things that the author pointed out that Cesar, I think his name is Cesar Ritz, often told people was, serve in silence.
Yeah.
When you know who you are, you don't have to be seen and blasted out what you do for other people. You just do it. And the greatness comes from the awareness of knowing why you're doing it and that you get to do it. You don't have to be recognized by someone when you serve. And you can serve wearing your light green slingback pumps, right? Pointy-toed while you're cleaning the toilets and everything else. Mm-hmm. And it feels so amazing because you know what you're doing. Yes. You know that you're being a voice for those people and contributing and making a difference in their lives. Mm-hmm. I'm just so flippin' proud of you.
I'm flippin' proud of you.
Well, this is, our worlds are colliding.
They are.
For a reason.
They are. They are.
I need to ask you some questions.
Okay, ask me some questions.
I wrote these questions down.
Or I'll talk too much.
No, you've answered probably half of them already. So, what advice would you give to other women who want to step out in faith and make a difference in their communities?
Yes. Start somewhere with someone. I said this earlier. I said we often, hear people want to do everything, but not something. And just do something. I often say from the outside looking in, I know that people think like, wow, look at how big City of Refuge has grown and what you're doing and now this farm. And yet I look at my days and I'm like, I need to go clean my house. I'm picking up my kids in a little bit. I got to say hi to Frankie last week and so was sitting in the rocking chair. But it's like our days are, let's not, don't dismiss your days, to be able to do something. And look at what God has already put around you. Who has he already put around you? What has he put in your hand?
You're saying look at the day you're in right now, at that moment.
Yes.
Don't let it pass you by.
Don't let it pass you by, the opportunities. And we often can live with so much discontentment of looking at what others have built that we forget where we have been placed. I met this mother that has 3 adopted children last week and then 2 others of her own. And I'm like, she's amazing. I'm looking at her and she was talking to me about City of Refuge. I said, do you understand what you've done? Like you've changed the world. And what you have done, you have changed the world. I was on a phone call this morning with my good friend Jessie Ryan, who her and her husband are now in Washington, D.C. now. And he's I think he just got appointed to the head of the Civil Rights Department for the United States of America. And they've adopted 2 children. Wow. And I said, look at what you're giving your children. Like you're changing their world. Yeah. You're absolutely changing their world. And so look at who's in front of you and what is in your hand today. Don't wait.
I think that's so hard for some people to fathom. When you tell that woman, you have children of your own and you've adopted some. Yes. You've changed the world.
You've changed the world. Profound,
but you're really, there's truth in that.
It's true. It's true. And here's the other thing. Dreams are not meant for us. They're meant to share. God asked me one question. Would you build my kingdom? I didn't understand what that meant. What I realized is that what I've been called to build is a house bigger and bigger and bigger for others to inhabit, and the dreams of others and the giftings of others that so far surpass me. If we live insecure and fearful of one another, we are going to miss out on the big things that can happen.
That should be a t-shirt.
When we begin to see the gold, and I'm like, you are amazing, and you are better than me, and so much better than me in this, like what you carry is incredible, and you're of value. You are not a threat. You are, we need to lock arms. And when we make room, and we're not about like, who can get the credit? My friend Corinne, when she was here from D.C., she started laughing at me. She said, Rachelle Ditmore, anyone who knows me, Venetia, you know this. She was like, how in the world do you have a whole organization? I was like, I know, it's crazy. I said, but I don't. They all do, And
that's how you do.
Yes, and that's how you do.
You
make room. Yes, and you just make room to invite people into belonging and bigger dreams.
The credit, things get done.
Things get done.
Oh my gosh. Honey, okay. How do you balance your work as a ministry leader with your personal life and family responsibilities?
Yeah. I really, what I believe in is rhythms, and I talk about rhythms a lot. I think if we create such structured lives when we have children and ministry, and you have the business of it, and somehow like we have to keep ourselves together. It's really about rhythms. So like for us, one of our family values is eating dinner at the dinner table together. Okay. And so we try to at least eat dinner at the table together 3 times a week. Now that's not a lot, but
that's
it's
good.
like if we go through an entire week where we haven't,
Yeah.
something is out of balance.
Right.
You know,
You wanna get
and
that rhythm
you
back.
have to get that rhythm back.
Mhm.
And I truly believe in parenting through connection
Mhm.
and not being the perfect parent, but inviting our children into everything that we do, even our decisions.
Yeah.
And so, you know, taking on this farm was a huge undertaking and also a huge financial risk and a huge financial cost that really impacted even some of the things that my children would be able to have in this season.
Right.
And so we invite them into those decisions, and we really lead as a family and teach them and empower them. And I am so blessed by my kids.
Yeah.
Like the wisdom that comes out of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love that verse that says, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but instead be an example to the believer in your faith, in your trust, in your hope, and in your purity. And, you
I
know,
have to believe that
yes.
your children have that aptitude for that wisdom because of how you
Yes.
parent.
yes, yes.
Because when you put restraints on people,
Yeah.
especially children at a young age,
Mhm.
then you limit what they can do, say, and become.
Yes.
And not saying, you know, of course we want to make sure that we have boundaries around them to protect them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But making sure that we're pointing them in the direction of where they're gifted.
Absolutely.
Exposing
Absolutely.
them to different things
Mhm.
that God might have for them.
Yes.
And then seeing where that goes. You know,
Yes.
within the boundary protections.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that wisdom, you
Mhm.
know.
And, you know, and seasons. I think there's seasons in life where you just know, hey, we're in a season right now that these next, you know, 5 months, it's going to be like we're all in, Team Ditmore. You know, it's going to be a lot of hard work.
Mhm.
It's not going to be like this forever,
I love
you know, but you just know there's seasons that you just got to accelerate. And we're all a part of a team. We're all a part of a family. And that's a beautiful thing. One day my husband was on the road. They were driving to the farm. And Loren said he was quietly just kind of stressing out about just how are we going to manage all of this? Where is the money going to come from? And Ellie says, Dad, aren't you so excited to see the miracle God's going to do? Because you know he's never failed us.
Wow.
You know, and my kids have seen that. My kids have seen miracles. My kids love people. My kids can go to a 5-star restaurant or
They
you
don't
know
know
the
anything
streets,
different
and it's
now.
like it's people.
They don't know anything different than the
Exactly.
miracles of God and trusting in
Mhm.
faith.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Talk about changing the world.
Yes. Yes. And yet, you know, we do things like they watch things that are child appropriate. You know, we're careful on the music they listen to, the things they watch, age appropriate.
And
You know,
that's
Zion
those
believe in
safety
watch out, but
boundaries,
it's
yeah.
creating boundaries and sanctuary and
Mhm.
protecting and preserving childhood, which
Right.
I really believe in,
Right.
which is what we want to build next at City of Refuge, which is our restorative housing community for children of families, which will be another show.
Yeah.
But coming soon.
Oh my God. There's so much, but see, that's the, and I hate to be, to use catchphrases like this, but that's that overflow in life that you live when you
is.
walk with Christ.
Yeah.
That's that continual overflow that
Yeah.
things they just come.
Yeah.
You're just minding your own business, doing the thing that he's called you to do, and then boom.
Someone said this recently. They said 29 years and an overnight explosion, you know, and just because things are growing, we're so desperate for God. You know, there are things that we're walking through right now that like we don't know. Like
Yeah.
we're in that place right now where like, God, how are we going to pay our
Right.
bills?
Yeah.
But also it's abundance,
Yeah.
you know? And so
Yeah.
cute. Sophia said to me the other day, she's like, Mommy, are we rich? I said, well, not the kind we can buy paper towels right now. But, well, then how are we? She's trying to figure that out. I said, well, because we've invested in another way.
Yes.
But there's a really great plan that we're
Yeah.
going to see unfold like we always do,
Yeah.
you know?
And I totally get it, because it just like within real estate, there's this economy that people are looking at.
Absolutely.
And people are saying, oh, you know, it's not a good time to buy, and rates are crazy, and
Mhm.
agents are leaving the business.
Yeah.
And then someone asked me, they were like, well, how are you doing? And I said, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But aren't you? Well, no.
No.
Well, and I actually had to like, what's the word? Just kind of like lift my head up from
Yeah.
off the path that I was on to
Yes.
see, other people are being challenged right now.
Yes.
And it was a gracious reminder.
Yeah.
It's not.
Come on.
It's not how
No.
the world. It's not the
No.
U.S. economy.
No.
The way that God is set up.
Yes.
It's like whatever
Yeah.
you're going through right now financially.
Yes. Yes.
I got you.
Yes. I also believe too, like there's that verse that says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God."
Yeah.
And I so believe, 3 years ago I saw a great terrible and a great miraculous. They were intertwined in one. And when COVID came to the scene, I told Loren, this isn't it, but there's a train that's left the station. And we can look at it and we can see the doom and gloom. That's where we can focus our attention. Or we can see that, Scripture also says that in the last days that people will return to the Lord with fear and trembling because of the goodness of God. Yeah. How good is he going to be to the ones that have set their attention, their eyes, their resources, that we understand that people are God's greatest treasure. If you ask my kid, what's God's greatest treasure? It's people.
Yeah.
It's always people.
Yeah.
And if we give our lives for others and we give our lives to what he cares for the most, I believe that we can be trusted to steward and see heaven come into earth.
Girl, see, now, this is the kind of conversation that will keep you resting in peace. This is the kind of conversation. If we understand this about life, how much we need each other.
Yes.
If we understand that we're all gifted in ways where if we hone those gifts, walk in them, cling
arm
together,
in arm,
that there's so much change that you've talked about, Venetia. You've talked about other people.
Eladrian, Omar.
Oh my! And so
right?
all of our paths cross all the time.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are certain people that are doing that. There are certain people that are walking the face of the earth for the purpose of what God has called us to.
Yes.
And so I just get excited hearing and seeing all of these things, hearing and seeing what's going on in Venetia's life and, and so many other people's lives. And I'm trying to not get off track because we only have so much time, but there's so much more. I'm just so full, you guys. I don't know if y'all are understanding what's happening right now on this show, but I'm praying that y'all are encouraged. Let me go to the chat and see what's going on here. Wait a minute. Did I miss some comments? Let's see. Wow. Angela said, "To God be the glory." And Kasha said, "The joy you exude in is so inspiring. My goodness, making your past an asset to help others is wonderful."
Thank
yes,
you.
She's one of my lender partners. Venetia's sending love here. Let's see. The feelings are mutual concerning the both of you. Yes, honey. Yes. So, one more question before we go to a break. Let me see. What time do we have? I have time for one question before we take a break. Okay. You kind of leaned into this. What are some of the biggest challenges? Maybe talk about one big challenge that you face with work right now. And how do you stay motivated and focused?
The balance of it all. And, I think in work and business and our dreams, there's the part that we love to do, and there's the part that is required of us in order to do those things. And that's not the fun part. And it's finding, those spaces. And so, obviously always like the amount of resources to be able to fill those things that's a challenge. But I think like the greatest challenge that I've had in the work has been myself. It's been my own growing as a leader, growing as an individual, healing, and I think that the challenges are not those outward things. I think our greatest challenges are our inward things. I remember when we bought the field and people said, I felt ridiculous because I had such a still poverty small mentality of like, I feel like we've heard God, but this is crazy. And then 5 years and here still we are with this empty lot. And people asking like, well, when are you building? What's happening? Has it happened yet? What's going on with that? And it's so freeing to finally get over yourself. And it's like when it's supposed to happen, the people that, and so I think the challenges are like It's us. It's the becoming. And if we become, we let God do what he wants to do in his time. But we just stay focused on people.
That is so big. I really, when you talk about yourself being the challenge, that's the biggest problem for
Our
all
own
of
barriers,
us.
right?
Yeah. You mentioned having the mentality, the
Yes,
mindset,
the
being
mindset.
impoverished. And I think a big challenge for me for the past couple of years has been accepting the fact that if I say I'm a child of God,
Yeah.
if the Bible says he owns the sheep
Yes.
and the cattle and
Yes.
the 1,000 hills, if everything belongs to God,
Yeah.
that's saying that he is an abundant source of everything
Yes.
we need.
Everything.
And if I am his child, I have access.
Yeah.
And not only do I have access, but he would have me to have
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
And it's not about material possessions.
No.
And so trying to feel worthy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to
Mhm.
cry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to
Mhm.
cry. I'm going to
Mhm.
cry.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to
Yeah.
feel worthy
Yeah.
of what it is that he's trying to put in my life.
Yeah.
And he's not trying to make me rich.
He
He's not trying
trusts
to make,
you.
Yes, yeah.
He trusts you.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
and coming to terms with the fact that he trusts me
Yeah.
with so
Yeah.
many different
Yeah.
levels of heavenly responsibility.
Absolutely.
And then feeling overwhelmed and
Mhm.
inundated and like, oh my
Yes.
God, Lord,
Yes.
what's going on?
Yes. And isn't it so true that like some days we have our power heels on and other days we're like 1, 2, 3, get out of bed.
Right, girl,
And
I
those
was gonna say
things,
the
right?
house slippers
Right?
versus
And
power heels.
and
yes.
and the things that were long gone is like, whoa, why do I feel this wave of anxiety or depression all over again? And I just feel like, whoo, with all of this.
Yeah.
And then he's like, listen, my yoke is easy.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
burden is light. One thing at a time.
That's the importance
You know?
of staying connected.
Yes.
Making sure you're spending time.
Yes.
And I know you do that.
Yes.
But making sure you're doing the self-care and,
Yeah.
all of those things. We need to take a break.
Okay.
Jeez. Whew. But when we come back, we're going to close out. We only have a few more minutes when we come back, y'all. We're going to have you back because I enjoy having you on
I
the show.
loved this.
You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I'm Agent Key, and we will be right back. Everyone, my name is Keisha, Agent Key Matthews, and I'm honored to be recognized as this year's Businesswoman of the Year by Sisters Inspiring Sisters. As a broker and owner of Matthews & Company Realty Group, it's been a pleasure to be ranked among the top 500 producing real estate agents across all brokerages in Sacramento, El Dorado Hills, and Placer counties. There are about 14,000 agents, plus agents in the region, and it's an honor to be among the top 500. I'm also the radio show host of Selling Sacramento, which is heard every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on 97.5 FM KDEE, and there all of my listeners receive relevant real estate information from thought-provoking guests, local market updates, and we take a deep dive and informative look back at Black history in Sacramento real estate. I am truly blessed to use my passion and my platform to be a voice for those who can't speak for themselves. I advocate for generational wealth building through real estate and financial literacy to the African American communities and Black and Brown communities in general. And it is a driving force in my life here in Sacramento. And so as a result, I founded 2 organizations. One is Anchor Financial Academy, AFA Real Estate and Wealth Building Conference, and that's Sacramento's first 2-day homebuyer preparedness conference with an emphasis on debt-free living, credit restoration, homeownership preparedness, and an introduction to investing. I'm also the founder of SAC Club 100, where my colleagues and I empower Sacramentans to become homeowners using our exclusive 5-star model approach, which guides buyers every step of the way in realizing their dream of homeownership. My commitment to the real estate industry extends beyond the city of Sacramento, as I was recently appointed as state director of the California Association of Real Estate Brokers, which is a subsidiary of NAREB, the oldest minority real estate trade organization in the United States, with an emphasis on democracy and housing. I also serve on the board of directors as its co-chair of my church's nonprofit development company, Legacy Community Development Corporation. So, with almost 20 years in the industry, I believe my business and charitable contributions perfectly round out how I maintain a pulse on the real estate activity in and around the state of California, as well as the Sacramento region. Thank you, Sisters Inspiring Sisters, for recognizing me as the Businesswoman of the Year, and I look forward to continuing my work in the industry and the community, and I can't wait to celebrate with all of you. Please register at www.hey-sis.com/events. And remember, if you're doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top. We're back, y'all. Hey, everyone, we're back. You're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key here with Miss Rachelle Ditmore, and we are looking at some comments coming in from our viewers on social media. Miss Alita says, I'm loving this conversation. Way to shine your light. Inspiring. And Shalon says, good afternoon. Thank you for watching, Shalon. Marie said, I really appreciate the spiritual biblical theme to your show today, Agent Key. By the way, welcome back. Yes, thank you, Maurice. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. So we only have a few more minutes left, but during the break, you said something that I really want to touch on, and I want you to talk about it again. You said, have grace for yourself.
Yes. Have grace for yourself. It's like, I feel like I drop a lot of balls, especially right now, and we have to steward the ones that we know that we can't let go of. But sometime in every season, there's things that we can't do everything all at once, but we can do what we've been given for today. And so have grace for yourself. I think it really is a beautiful journey getting over yourself, because when we realize that God did it and our ego or our need for perfection, our need to present in a certain manner, our need for control, acknowledgement. It's like when we can just calm down and be faithful, work hard, steward what you've been given, but also have grace for yourself. And then I think those that are in your close circle, learn to ask people to have grace for you in certain seasons. Learn to apologize. Goodness, it took me so long to learn I blew it. And it wasn't because I was arrogant. I was afraid because I just felt like I needed to keep up a certain pace. And so with those that are close, it's like authenticity is something that we've lost. There's a value that's been lost, but I think that people appreciate it.
Yeah, they do. And then you feel your heart and spirit just feel better as well when the process of learning to apologize immediately. I think that that's something that I do so much better now, and it makes me feel you're not carrying around a weight or a burden. And then it allows you, one of the other things you talked about was dropping things. I am really super protective of my time, and I vet stuff like a security guard that comes through my life and my calendar so that I can stay focused, because the task feels so overwhelming that I don't want to mess up. So even in that, I'm hearing you tell me I need to have grace. Calm down, Keisha. Just calm down. Don't take everything to the side.
We have time. It doesn't. It'll all happen. It won't happen all at once. Right?
I love it. Let me see if I can ask you one more question. What time do we have? Oh, you know what I want you to talk about? There are people listening right now. Somebody listening right now has the ability to give financially to City of Refuge, to the Ditmore household, to Be Love Farm. How do they do that?
Well, you can go on our website at cityofrefugesac.com. You can give online. We are a 501c3. We also have a partnership with another nonprofit called Be the Love for our nonprofit work at Be Love Farm. And if there's just some generous person out there that wants to write a check to the Ditmores to help us play PG&E, we will take it, right? So you can contact the radio station.
This is authenticity. This is authenticity. And we want to make sure that we are supporting
Yes.
ministries such as
Thank you.
yours because you're doing the work.
Thank you so much.
You're doing the work.
Thank
You're
you.
helping keep the light on,
Thank
the light
you.
of the world.
Thank you.
So if you are listening out there, go to the website at City
City of Refuge, sac.com.
City of Refuge,
Yes,
sac.com.
sac.com. And then also, I'd love to say another way to support the work at Beulah Farm is through our farm stays and retreats. You can actually book a retreat. You can book a stay. We have enough capacity for about 25 people. We have individual rooms, bed and breakfast. And so that also supports the ongoing work. And it's a beautiful place to come.
And
Love Farm.
And if you want to contribute to the Ditmore household, connect with me. Tell me that's what you want to do, and I will get her information to you so that you can get the funds directly to her.
You, sister.
So go to agentkee.com, agentkee.com. Go to click on the Contact Me button. Tell me, I want to contribute to Rachelle and her family. And I will shoot you over her information, and you can help make that happen. We don't want her kids thinking they can't have paper towels, and that PG&E is not going to visit that house.
We're going to be fine.
we want to make sure that they are fine, y'all. We need to make sure that they are fine. We got to protect this family.
We're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our time. Let me see. Let me get a couple of other comments here. I saw them coming up here. Eddie said, I second that, Maurice. Oh, thank you, Ed. Thank you, Ed. And Miss Valencia said, amen to the light of the world. That's right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you
I love you so
much.
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you.
I don't even want this show to end, but it has to. Y'all, you're listening to 97.5 FM KDEE. I am Agent Key, and this has been Selling Sacramento. We are honoring women who inspire. Thank you, Miss Rachelle Ditmore.
Thank you.
And remember, y'all, if you're doing what you were created to do, I will see you at the top.
I love this.
Thank you.
This is amazing. I
You
am
wanna tell
so
everybody
proud
bye,
of you.
everybody watching?
Yes.
Bye, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week.